All right, guys, how you doing? It's JP Dunphy, your BMW genius here at BMW for Washington. In today's video, in case you didn't see the thumbnail, I'm going to be going a quick walk around right here to show you the new 2023 BMW X1. So with that, let's turn you guys right around here and get started. So sorry for the orientation. I wasn't really paying attention when I started this, so I accidentally started this as an upright orientation. As you can see, this car is sold. However, before it goes out, and since all of our cars coming in right now are sold on these, I just wanted to show you basically what this car is, what it's all about. So with that, let's kind of jump into it here. So this car right here is the 2023. Let's see if I can cut this out so you can start to see it. Is the 2023 BMW X1 X-Drive 28i. This one currently is stuck out for excuse me, $45,000. This particular one does have the premium package, which if you didn't know is a fantastic way to get. It gives you a whole bunch of goodies, things like the panoramic sunroof, comfort access, auto-dimming mirrors, auto-dimming rearview mirror, heated seats, black gloss, interior camera, driver assistance, parking assistant plus, Harman Kardon, wireless charging, live cockpit with head-up display, anti-theft recorder, active parking distance control, and 3D surround view. So all that's kind of helpful for that. But the main part about it is, if you don't know, this thing is completely redesigned. I'll go over some of the things in the exterior and then move to the interior as well. I'll kind of show you a little bit of the basics in there. So starting from the exterior, in case you haven't seen this before, the whole thing is grown significantly. It's almost about 1.5 inches longer than the previous generation. It's a little bit taller, a little bit wider. All things typically happen as these things grow. The main parts there, it's really changed. You now have a much bigger grille. This kind of emulates much more of the X5 and X3 big brothers of this car. It's no longer using the same platform. So the previous version of this was shared with the Mini Countryman. They no longer do that for this one now. Instead, it's, they will do it as it goes forward, but this one's now on something called the U11 platform, and that's going to be a whole new one. It is still a transverse mounted front engine and all-wheel drive. However, this no longer has a front-wheel drive option here in the U.S. market. Instead, it is all-wheel drive only, so you don't have to worry about shoveling out an extra couple thousand just for all-wheel drive. Let me cover up that glare right here. So starting in the back right here, let's just show you how it has a massive, massive trunk on the inside here. This actually rivals the X3 in terms of sizing, 25.7 cubic feet altogether. Some of the newer things they added over here. Sorry about that glare. Good Lord, that is like right in the way. All right. So you have 2 bag holders over here, 2 bag holders over here as well, and of course underneath. Now you do get a spare tire with this one underneath there instead. If you want, you can take that out if you want. However, there are no longer run flats on this, so keep that in mind as you go forward. Let's close this guy up here. Sorry, looking for this car right next to me. Sorry, why don't you while I'm back here, might as well. So, of course, if you're a big fan of BMW's latest headlights, this is kind of a 3D effect. So you see your finger goes into there. It's a fantastic look, great look at night. I can show a couple things on another video to kind of go over that as well. The whole design is much more nicer. If you look on the back here, you'll notice that you no longer see any tailpipes. Part of the reason for that is because a plug-in hybrid version. They're coming out with a higher horsepower one, so an M35i version of this car as well. And of course, if you're in the other markets, they also sell this in the iX1, which is the all-electric version. The reason that they did that with the back end was therefore they don't have to get a whole bunch of different, they wouldn't have to get, say, 6 different ones. This does come in 3 trims altogether, so it starts with the base. This particular one is the X-Line model. That gives you a little more bits right here. Satin mirror caps. Again, sorry for the glare. And of course your little satin front bumper piece right there and side pieces. So it's a little more aggressive. You also can get this with a tow hook if desired, which makes this especially fun and entertaining. This big grill on the front here, this is where all your sensors would go. Now, we do not get driver assistance professional here in the US, but this is where that would go. If it was here, as you can see, front camera. This one has, of course, the side cameras as well, giving you that 360 camera view on the back end, of course, back camera right there. With that, let's move on to the inside here. So moving right on the inside, again, this has the Harman Kardon system. As you can see, let me get that glare out of there for you. As you can see, whole new, this is a metal covering. New grab handle. That thing is nice, 3D, great looking. And of course, let's get right here. Let's turn off that music so we don't get any copyright issues in this. All right. So we've got that. Let's turn this puppy on real quick, and we'll do a quick walkthrough of everything else. Let's move this also towards us, a little more out of the way. All right, so on the inside now, let's take a look at this. If you look at this, you'll notice it's pretty much a version of what you see in the iX, which is fantastic. I absolutely love this steering wheel. It's got some good beef to it, and this isn't even the M Sport steering wheel. This is the base one, and it feels much better than other ones, other orbiting ones. So you have all that, all your standard stuff here. Nice little pass-throughs here as well. There's a sport version, which you'll actually get little cutouts here, which are kind of nice. And of course, all of your main controls here. If you've seen iDrive 8, behold, the smallest iDrive 8 that is out there. The center screen right here is 10.125 inches. Again, don't need too much. Perfectly visible through the steering wheel as well. Everything, let me close that door so you don't get that issue right there. All right, so you got that. And then of course on the right hand side here, this is a 10.75 inch screen to give us some more space. One of my personal favorite things they do with the screen, because we don't have an iDrive controller in this version, instead what they do here is they make it so the second you go into any of the options, you now suddenly get your quick shortcuts on the side here. If you notice, media, telephone, and navigation used to be, if you had your iDrive controller, media, telephone, map, and nav right there. So everything's right there. Of course, home button and back button right there. Focus, please. Thank you. So you have all that. You can hit the back button there. And of course, they only show up when you're inside of a feature. Of course, it has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Right down here, one of my favorite little bits about it is this wireless charger right here. It has a little tiny, breaker bar. So that holds your phone in case. And of course, you have your cooling fans and vents right there. So it's stand there upright. Another thing they added, as you can see right here, you have your ambient lighting, which goes into there. A couple more, excuse me, a little something stuck in my throat. A couple more on the door right there. And see if I can get this little guy right there. See, right there as well. This does look very nice at night, by the way. Good size head-up display. A couple of new displays on the head-up display as well. Let me see if I can get that on this here. So if I go into my head-up display layout, you have, of course, your standard layout right here. You also have a new sport display. Can you try and focus on that? There we go. Sport display, which is a lot of fun. Vroom, vroom. Look at that. Go team. And if you go under the My Modes, let me zoom out here. Boop. Go under My Modes. You can, of course, use the efficient one, and the efficient put the standard head-up display for it. So yeah, the efficient one actually has a very nice little efficiency monitor. So that little guy right there, the little wings on the side, as long as you're accelerating and you stay within there, you're within your efficient zone. Go team. If you do a hard acceleration, it then disappears and it goes from blue to gray, letting you know you're not being very efficient at your current driving, and it can go back from there. So we've got that, and yeah, let's zoom back out of this guy a little. In terms of My Modes, now you have your different modes here. Of course, you have, zoom out there, you have your personal, sport, efficient, and expressive. Expressive mode does automatically switch you to your efficient drive mode over here. Again, if you haven't seen our iDrive you don't have any leather seats. You only get Sense Tech in here. Trust me, you will not miss it. Sports seats, in my opinion, are a must. Everything is very comfortable. I really do love these seats. Of course, they have the covers on them right now, but no worries about that. Of course, up here you have your interior camera, good for theft detection. It's the only car outside the iX that currently has this, by the way. 7 Series will have an option for it as well, but of course that's also significantly more expensive than one of these. Massive panoramic moonroof. All the usuals there. Go look at the interior for that one. We go into this. One thing I do want to show you, of course, you have your cup holders, USB-C, and a massive floating thing down here. So this is wide open. This guy right here can be opened, although you don't get too much on the inside here. I can fit my phone in here. I have a 13 mini. If you have Max, that's not gonna really work there. Pros should probably fit in there as long as it's a normal one. But yeah, so it's kind of less of a storage space, more of just a kind of nooks and crannies things there. In terms of the side pockets here, you do have a decent amount of room here. It's not quite round. I wish it was a little more round to actually fit a bigger water bottle in here. You do have a cutout for it, as you can see down there. Although I think it's probably more for smaller water bottles rather than the bigger ones in there. Back seats is, of course, 40-20-40 with a center armrest option in there. Fantastic for that. Ooh, yes, purple, love it. And yes, that's that. You might also notice that if you haven't seen any of the other iDrive 8 options in here, you'll notice that there are no longer BMW's hotkeys down here. Instead, you just have your there we go, reconnected there. Sorry again. And down here, of course, you have all this stuff. You'll notice there's no longer a park option. Just simply put your foot on the brake and press the stop button, and it will go in. So if I put this thing in drive right now, with my foot on the brake, if I turn this thing off, it goes in the park automatically. Your park brake is right here. Auto hold, drive modes. So your driving settings right there, as well as really quick access things for iconic sounds, driver support, lane departure, and if you're going slow enough, your hill descent control is easily accessible right there. So you've got all that, and of course the My modes that I went through over earlier. Volume knob is right here, no longer an iDrive controller. It is significantly thinner, so like I have pretty small hands for a male human, but my hand almost fills out the entirety of this. So it's a much smaller one, but that basically gives you is more leg room and hip room in here for that reason alone. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below. Again, I'm also going to eventually go through this and give a full-blown walkthrough as well. And last but not least, the engine underneath is the Turbo 4 B48 engine. It's detuned a little bit, so it puts out 241 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. That's a massive jump from what it had before and really makes this thing especially fun. Now, another fun thing about this, if you didn't know, is the X1 is now the only car in BMW's lineup to get a DCT transmission. So everyone else has the VF transmission. This is the only one that does not have that one. Yeah, that's about it, Skippy. With that, you know, I'll be putting up an actual video about this car, doing a full walkthrough for you, going through various options, things of that nature, kind of a 4K walk around for you. I'll have that hopefully up later today, but until then, this is your kind of quick live walkthrough. Thanks for being with us, a few people that were here, and otherwise, catch us on the flip side. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day, guys.